couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to a 737 simulator. Now this was really fun because we did some very difficult approaches, including this one over Hong Kong and the original Kai Tak airport. This simulator is SimAir 737 at Gloucestershire Airport, or Staverton. Now, this was a really fun experience. I had 90 minutes in the simulator. As you can see, it's a full cockpit. It runs on Prepared, and yeah, it's got amazing graphics. The controls are with obviously a yoke, which is what Boeing use. I'm used to a joystick, and yeah, it was very weird to be using a yoke, although I did like it quite a lot. I think it's only like the second time I've ever even used a yoke. So yeah, now as I'd had a lot of experience with flight simulators in the past, I've done a lot of flight simulators on this channel, and you know, I've played them for about probably 15 years since I was a kid. We did some difficult approaches to kind of test me.
There we go. Bring us nicely to a stop. Absolutely perfect landing. Okay, thank you. Wow. Really, really good flying. Goodness. You don't see many approaches like that. To a stop there.
Wow. So it's a full 737 simulator. It's almost kind of at that level where you could do proper airline pilot training. My instructor Zach was really helpful. He also allowed people to sit in the back, so there's basically some airline seats back there so people can come and watch you in the flight simulator. So we started out at Madeira, which is an island, Portuguese island. It's got a very difficult airport because its runway is basically over the sea, and it's very fun to take off and then come back and land there because you get a beautiful view of the island and also of the airport. As we're getting started, my instructor helped me set up a few things about the aircraft. He taught me about the FMC, the computer where you can basically do route guidance, a bit about the flight director and the autopilot, which was really useful. I mean, I've done a lot of flight simulators in the past, but I never really get that involved with all the systems, so it was great to have a bit of an education about how to use these vital and really useful systems. Then we did a takeoff from Madeira Airport in Funchal. We then looped around a couple of times on the island, and then we started to do an approach with the island on our left. And as we kind of came up to these mountains, the ground proximity warning system kind of told me, oh, you're getting closer to rain, you're getting close to rain. And yeah, that was a bit scary for me. And despite the fact I knew I was in a simulator, it did feel very realistic, and it's like you wanted to, you know, turn away and, you know, listen to what it was saying. But that is the approach you're meant to do. You pretty much go right up to the edge of the mountains in Madeira, and then you land on the airport, which is just sat out slightly in the sea on the island.
Ooh. So it's on the VOR localizer now. Yep.
3 ahead.
Pull up. There we go. So now you can follow that VOR localizer absolutely perfectly for me. And we're going to follow those pappies down. So we're going to be offset on this runway. So a little bit more. There we go. Absolutely perfect. Time it over to the left. Keep that runway nice and central. And we will stop on this one and go somewhere else. Thank you.
50, 40.
30, there we are, a little bit backwards. There we go, that's absolutely perfect. And nose back down now. There we go, reverse thrusters for you there. And it will slow us down all automatically. And exactly that, perfect. Wow, thank you. We'll bring it to a stop on the runway for you. So, where do you want to go next?
Or do we do Kai Tak?
Do you want to give Kai Tak a go?
Yeah.
You've definitely got the skill for Kai Tak, so there's no issue at all there.
So then we went to Hong Kong and Kai Tak Airport, which I think was demolished in the 90s. But this approach is really difficult because, as you can see on screen, my instructor was kind of pointing with a laser pointer in front of me, which showed me the lights which guide you in over the kind of buildings and the hills in Hong Kong. Now, this is a really difficult approach. I was in a 737, but I mean 747s used to land here, and it was really fun because you could basically see the buildings below you. And someone in my family who was with me said they were on a flight into Hong Kong and they could see people's faces in the buildings, like in the skyscrapers and tower blocks. It's just a crazy approach. There's a reason it was demolished. It was a bit impractical and kind of dangerous, but amazing approach, so much fun. One of the most difficult approaches I think you can do, but I wasn't a 737, and I just dread to think what it'd be like in a 747. So we did some landings here, some touch and goes where we just rolled onto the runway and then took off again, had a look around the Hong Kong scenery. It was actually really nice to see P3D again, Prepared. I did used to play Prepared a lot. Microsoft Flight Simulator obviously is a beautiful game, but I would say in some ways Prepared is more photorealistic and it's probably better suited, or in fact almost certainly better suited for flight simulators like this.
Get us nice and straight on it. Keep that nose where it is. You want the happies around about a third of the way up the screen.
Approaching minimums.
Tiny bit to the left. There we go.
50, 40, 30,
There we go. Tiny bit.
20,
And then nose back forwards now.
10,
Nose down. Back to flat 5. Increase that one. Increase that back up again. And then we're going to go around. So V rotate. And you can follow those flight directives for me now.
Right, thank you. That's good.
That was a really, really good approach. You've got a positive rate. Gear is up again. Speed is aligned.
So then we did something more local to the simulator. We started out at Bristol Airport, which has some beautiful views over the River Severn. You can see like the motorway bridges over there. And then we headed over to Gloucestershire Airport, where the simulator is based, which is a really, really short runway and it has a very, very difficult landing. So here I am taking off from Bristol Airport. It's really, really cool. You have to kind of pull the yoke back, but then you have to start pushing it forward again quite fast. Like, I don't know, I need to get used to using a yoke. It was quite difficult to kind of, that's the most difficult thing I found, I think, getting used to the yoke. But I followed the flight director on the central screen in front of me, and it was just so easy to follow the route with the flight director and autopilot all working together. And I just wish I'd used these systems in the past, but I didn't bother setting up the FMC or anything like that. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing that in the future when I do more simulators. So this is a landing back into Bristol. The simulator has some really cool features where after you've done your flight, your instructor can bring out a tablet and show you, your flight path, where you can like make improvements. So he showed you if you went off course or if you were too high or too low, and the kind of how smooth the landing was. That's a really, really cool feature. And basically I could choose where I wanted to go. So we went all around the world in this simulator just in 90 minutes. And yeah, it's great that they give you the choice to choose what kind of experience you want, and then they guide you obviously with all the different tips and advice and the training that you need to make your flight successful. Just to throw a spanner into the works, this landing I only had one engine. Now it is obviously possible to land a 737 with one engine, but it just made that experience just a little bit more difficult.
Really good stuff.
Yay!
Yeah, and that's your approach of what you just did there.
Oh
You
wow.
can see we came all the way down that one there.
Yep.
So perfectly centre line the whole way down. And then that's your glide slope there. A little bit wiggly,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
more than alright with only one engine.
Yeah.
And then really nice landing. We landed at 2.0 G.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. Nothing like a 10 G around air landing.
Yeah.
So got nothing to worry about on that one. Really good stuff.
The final landing we did was into Gloucestershire Staverton Airport. Now this is where Sim 737 are based. They're just around the corner, I think, from the main terminal building. But you can see a kind of building, a circular stadium looking building we're flying over. That is GCHQ, which is basically British Intelligence. They are based, I think, near Cheltenham. And yeah, it was in the simulator. It was quite cool to see that as a landmark. This runway is way too short for a 737 or really any commercial airliner. So we could land there just about, but you wouldn't be able to take off again. So yeah, it was a really, really tricky landing, and just cool to kind of land back where exactly we were in the world. The experience was amazing, and I've not done too many like flight sim videos in like the last few months. But I really want to get back into it, and obviously Microsoft Flight Simulator, the 2020 version, is my simulator. I will be doing more of that in the future. I think I'm going to get some kind of setup, more permanent setup for flight sims. Maybe I'd get a yoke, I don't know. But it's going to be an awesome experience getting back into Microsoft Flight Simulator. This has really spurred me on. I enjoyed it so much. I'll leave a link to the Sim 737 website down below, so if you're in the UK and you want to have a go at a simulator, I would definitely recommend this. It's very easy to get to, and they're really friendly and helpful, and with a 90-minute session we did so much. It was so much fun.
Reverse thrusters.
Yep. No, both of them. If you want to see some more Flight Simulator, click the video on screen right now. Thank you very much to my Ultra Sim fan Omar Mandy. They support me on the YouTube memberships, and I'll see you soon for some more simulator adventures. Yay!
Very good stuff.
Wow. That is a short runway.
It's a very short one.
So if you landed here, would you even have enough to take off again? No, so you'd have to...
Yeah, that's the best bit about it.
Wow.